My girlfriend catfished me multiple times to check if I'm disloyal to her.
That's one stinky little catfish.
This happened a short while ago, but I only found out recently and haven't done anything about it. We've been dating for just over a year. Firstly, I'm a student, but on Twitter, I'm trying to get a small following for indie games development as I'm interested in game development and like to make a few small things. Not long before all this happened, I had some tweets showing off some of my stuff that got moderately popular. I gained some followers, got some attention, and it encouraged me to post more and more. By the way, this comes from Do It For The Metric System, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. So, one night, just before sleeping, I texted my girlfriend goodnight, and then my Twitter buzzes with someone tweeting at me to message them. Their account is clearly about indie development stuff too, but mostly bare, only saying that they'll post their own stuff soon. I figure it's someone who saw my stuff and wanted to ask for help, so I messaged them. It didn't take long for their messages to get weird and flirty, and with the girl asking if I found her pretty, amongst other things. I told her that she's asking the wrong person. I said I had a girlfriend, but they didn't stop. They sent a picture of her legs, which I deleted, and then they said to me that they would tell my girlfriend that I had flirted with them, which I hadn't. My girlfriend messaged me after all of this, saying that she couldn't sleep. I told her what happened, and then she told me to block the account, so I did. I dismissed it as a bot, but then thought about how oddly targeted it was. The fact that they knew to target not only indie game development, but a specific subcategory of indie game development that I was interested in. I watched the account, thinking that they would repurpose themselves for another attack if it was really a bot, but ever since, it lay dormant. I found this odd and concluded it must have been someone who knew of my account to try and personally attack me. I figured I would never know who, so I let that be the end of it. 2 to 3 weeks ago, my girlfriend did something that led me to believe that catfishing people wasn't beyond her. I analyzed the messages from the Twitter account and noticed that they were similar to my girlfriend, but almost as if it was specifically her trying to type as if it's not her. Furthermore, I recalled that on that night, my girlfriend conveniently disappeared just before this girl contacts me and reappeared once the conversation had ended, where my girlfriend asked specifically what I was doing and why I couldn't sleep. Lastly, I remember my girlfriend expressing some insecurity about wishing that she was a game developer so that I would love her more, which would be a believable motive. It was all too convenient. I happen to have her password, and I know that she uses it for everything, so I try it on the account, thinking I've got nothing to lose. And boom, I'm into the account. So I know it was her. She tried to catfish me with a fake account to prove that I'm disloyal, and yet I didn't do anything wrong. I told the fake girl immediately that I have a girlfriend, nor did I flirt back. She brings this up occasionally as if it's something that I did wrong, even though I know it was her. What should I do? Thanks. And there are some comments, but I want to hear your comments. What do you think he should do?
Break. Break. You break up?
Yeah. I agree. I think if someone wanted to cheat, then they would. And you can't do anything about that, even though it sucks and you want someone to be loyal. But like, you gotta let them cheat and then break up with them afterwards.
I mean, like, if someone's gonna do that, they're gonna do that.
Exactly.
And,
exactly.
It's just like, it's too weird.
It's too weird.
What are you doing?
But we do have some comments. Comment number 1 says, if someone has to act this way to make sure that you're loyal, it's time to leave. Huge red flags. She needs mental help. You needs to leave before she gets worse. OP responds, if I left, she would probably say that she was right all along because she's always kind of doubted my loyalty. I had asked her to see a counselor before, but she refused, saying it wouldn't help her and that there are long waiting lists in this country. Commenter number 2 says the girlfriend is still very young. If she was called out on this, she might be able to correct their behavior before it becomes a bigger problem. But let's be honest, most of us don't correct our behavior until it costs us something. And that's not necessarily even enough. We do have an update. Hello again. Since the last post, I had decided to defer any action until after my exams to try and minimize the chaos from any fallout for any parties involved. Things didn't quite go the way I had planned, though. It amazes me that this happened again. So recently on Instagram, I had been liking a lot of pictures to do with Lego. This happened to gain me a lot of followers from Lego fan accounts, and I had mentioned this to my girlfriend about how strange it was. Then, just 5 minutes after telling her, another account follows me. with a username along the lines of Lego account. I literally watched the account form in front of my eyes as it followed me and liked a series of my pictures. Every time I checked the profile, it had more details suddenly filled in. Profile picture, bio, etc. It followed the exact same format as the fake Twitter account, preying on a hobby of mine that she doesn't share, with a bio saying that they'll post new content soon, looking to make friends, and messaging me saying that they liked my stuff and wanted to chat. I reverse image searched the Instagram profile and found that it was from a girl off of TikTok. Of course, it was almost certainly my girlfriend who made the account, so I just ignored the account's messages. The messages from the account got more and more extreme, calling my girlfriend a salute and sending full unclothed pictures. I logged into the Lego account from my girlfriend's password that I knew, and sure enough, it was her.
Mid hack.
Yeah.
Like, oh my, wait. In the middle of her sending you all this unhinged lies, you just logged into the account and just go, you go, stop.
Yeah. I feel like he should log into these accounts and then change the username to like the girlfriend's name. Yeah. And then he's like, why is this account saying it's your name messaging you these things? What?
Oh my God.
I mean, he should just be honest and just call her out. But like that would be a fun way to mess with her for sure.
Yeah, it would be.
That night, she must have felt particularly bold because around the same time, I got another account popping up on Twitter, this time targeting coding. This time, it was even sloppier than even the Instagram account, and I was getting so sick of these endless fake accounts, so I just said, "Hi, girlfriend's name," and the account instantly blocked me. Then my girlfriend messages me saying that she keeps getting emails from her account and asks if I tried to log in. I just explained that I knew she had been setting up these fake accounts and asked her why she did it. And she immediately starts accusing me of things. For backstory, the reason I knew her password is because a close friend of hers had her password and was logging into her accounts and stealing private pictures. Oh, wow. Of course, since telling her that I was logging into her fake accounts, she accused me of logging into her main accounts, which I hadn't, and being as bad as her friend that was stealing her private pictures. She accused me of being insensitive to the harm that caused her and said how she couldn't believe that I didn't trust her so much that I would think it was her and log into her accounts. She even accused me of checking if the accounts were hers so that it would be a clear for me to flirt with them. At no point did she acknowledge how unusual that behavior was. She asks me to block her, and I don't. And then the conversation moves on to her saying how I don't care about her and how one of her other guy friends is the only guy that compliments her. This is between exams, so I didn't want to make up much of a fuss, but I was astounded that she still acted like she had done exactly nothing wrong. It isn't brought up again for a couple of weeks until about 2 days ago. Mid-conversation, she had been saying that there's probably lots of girls in my Instagram search history. And I said the only girls in my Instagram search history were from when I reverse image searched the fake accounts.
Brother. Why are we going weeks after these revelations? Why are we still dating her?
That needed to be the end of it. She immediately jumps to saying that I saved because I had to save pictures to have performed the reverse image search. And then she said how the profile pics were lewd. The profiles that I saved weren't. And she accuses me of having the still saved. I actually deleted all pictures I used for reverse search, none of which were not safe for work. And she accused me of getting off to them. She even questions me and using plural accounts and says that she only had one account, even though I managed to log into at least 2 with her password. She keeps repeating this point that I was saving nudes, which I wasn't, to completely deflect from me saying that she set up fake accounts. By the way, there are no fake accounts on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is, of Storytime. Search Storytime and you're going to find full episodes with more stories just like this one. There is a little bit more to the story, but oh my gosh, I cannot believe that he hasn't broken up with her yet.
I think it was, he mentioned that it's like, I'm deferring anything until after exams, but honestly, I think that you need to like really, if this person in any way like shares a space with you or has access to like the keys to your house, like you need to change locks, like you need to be like very, because this is not someone living in reality, and which can be dangerous.
Yes, absolutely. But
like, No, I don't mean to make it too intense.
No, that's
But
okay.
like, if she's able to literally lie to herself about the things she did, imagine if she lies to herself and she's like, he's threatening me, and like, what was she gonna like grab? Like, could she like hurt you and then just be like, oh no, he
like
was gonna hurt
defense.
me? And it's like, because she's just so not in the real world.
No, yeah. But there is a little bit more to the story. She says to me that she would rather be catfished than to find out that her boyfriend has been saving other girls. The only way that she shows any form of remorse is to say that we were both in the wrong. She tries to deflect the conversation to say about how sad she is, etc. And I say to her that she's changing the subject, which she then accuses me of changing the subject because I keep insisting that I didn't say.
Dude, like,
that's not changing the subject. That's just denying what you're accusing.
Right. That's just saying like, no, I didn't do that. Honestly, at this point, he needs to just be like, hey, that guy you said compliments you. Why don't you just go to him?
Yeah.
Just go to that guy.
Exactly. The conversation ends with her saying that she's going to talk to one of her friends that actually acknowledges her feelings, and then she ignores me for the rest of the day. No apology, no real acknowledgement, no explanation, just consistent lies. I'm at a loss here, guys. How can I get through to her? Is there even any point? Thanks again. There are some comments, but OP doesn't respond to this.
Man,
so
just walk away.
Walk away, man. You know, I've been in a similar situation, I'm going to say. When someone accuses you of cheating, from all the stories that we've found out, it seems like they are usually the ones cheating.
The odds that it's projection.
Yeah.
Pretty high.
My partner judged me for cutting off my mother, but he just doesn't understand.
Hey, who are you to judge? Come on.
By the way, this comes directly from the r/OKstorytime subreddit, one of our own.
Oh, yeah.
I will try to make this brief, but I have a tendency to be wordy, so my apologies beforehand. Expect typos as well. I'm dyslexic. I see you, Riley. I, 38 non-binary, have been with my partner, 54 male, off and on for about 8 years. Before anyone says anything about the age difference, just note that I was 30 when we initially got together. That's also when we first met. And I absolutely, without question, came on to him first, lol. By the way, this comes from Pinball Knothead, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to that r/OKstorytime subreddit. However, I'm not going to lie and say our relationship has always been perfectly angelic. We've had lots of ups and downs, and when our relationship gets down, it can be really, really down due to the fact that we both suffer from major depressive disorder. Because of this, when we both hit bad lows at the same time, we can go from being lovers and best friends to each other's worst nightmare. We understand this about each other now and do our best to be supportive instead of accusatory these days. In December, I had to go no contact with my mother, 74 female. The reason why is a very long story worthy of a Reddit post all to itself, but let's just say that she's always been an self-absorbed person and things have gotten worse for multiple reasons, and I simply could not tolerate it anymore. Not to mention, because of another self-absorbed person in her orbit, things had gotten where it was literally unsafe for me to even try to be close to her. My partner, let's call him Silas, and I love each other very much and very deeply. Unfortunately, family is a deeper trigger for him, especially mothers. This is because his own passed away due to illness over a decade ago, and he was her caretaker. Yeah, in my opinion, I don't think he ever actually processed that grief. The first quarter of the year can be very difficult for him because they contain both his mother's birthday and passing date, both of which put an extreme strain on him emotionally and mentally. Silas has been aware of the difficult relationship that I've had with my mother from the very start. He's been there to hold me and comfort me because of the things this woman has put me through. The fact that our immediate families and childhoods pretty much sucked has been a bonding point for us. Far from the only one, don't worry. It's also been a great comfort knowing that he could empathize with that aspect of my life. But when I went no contact, his attitude about the situation completely changed. Silas was and is very much of the opinion that one should never entirely cut off anyone, especially family. He thinks that if he should reach out to my mother, he has every right to do so, and I have no right or reason to feel hurt by that action. If I am hurt by that, it's manipulation and controlling on my part. Today, I found out that blocked numbers can still receive voicemails. Who knew? Because my egg donor left one. She was upset that I hadn't told her about some health issues that I've been having lately, and the voicemail was clearly both trying to shame and guilt me for not talking to her. What's funny is that if she had just checked her email, she would have known that I did tell her. I just didn't give a lot of details. I sent a group email explaining that I would be out of pocket for a while and why, and she was one of the recipients. To be sure that I wasn't being biased, I sent a copy of the voicemail to multiple people, both friends and family. Everyone agreed that she was trying to be manipulative, except for Silas. He insisted that she just sounded concerned. Listen, I care very deeply about this man. I've been anti-marriage my entire life, but if he were to ask, I would absolutely marry him. But his absolute blindness to this issue is starting to be too much. He consistently says that he doesn't judge people, but that's how I feel anytime this comes up. I feel judged. I feel like because I finally found the courage to walk away from someone that was supposed to love and cherish me, yet never really did, he's ashamed of me. And I know that this post is looking for advice, but please don't let the first thing anyone says be break up. Yeah, I'm aware I can do that. The reason I said off and on earlier is because I have broken up with him before, and now we have an agreement. If we break up again, we won't even try to stay friends and we'll completely walk away from each other because we clearly can't avoid getting back together so long as we're in each other's lives. And I know the second suggestion is therapy. Well, I'm already in therapy and have been for a while. Silas, on the other hand, has had therapy weaponized against him at multiple points in his life, so he no longer trusts it. I've asked him for couples counseling multiple times and he refuses, saying only people who need help breaking up do couples counseling.
Pause. This sounds extremely suspicious.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, he's like, I'm allowed to feel however I want to feel about you, but you are not allowed to feel anything about the way I feel about you.
Yeah, I think
that's not allowed.
I read that thing wrong earlier that said, like, you know, if he decides to reach out to OP's mom, then they can't have any you know, response to it. I totally read that wrong. I thought that like he was saying that if like they want to walk away or something like that. I don't know. I totally read that wrong, but that was a manipulative thing.
He's literally saying your feelings don't matter, my feelings do matter. Throughout this, all of that.
Yeah.
Like even where it's like, well, now if we've been on and off again, he's like, was it a group decision really to be like, if we break up again, we'll never ever see each other ever in our lives?
Yeah.
Or was that his idea?
Was that like an ultimatum?
So that you never break up again?
Yeah. Because clearly it's working.
Right. So, and then now he can, you know.
I don't trust this guy so far.
He seems very good at manipulating you, OP.
Yeah. I tried to explain that that's not how that works, but that's exactly what's happened to him before. So I can't say I blame him for having that mindset. I actually have a list of reasons for why I think he feels the way he does about my choices about my mother, and including his own mother's passing away. I can add the whole thing if anyone wants that, but at this point, I don't need the why as much as I need a way for him to understand that his mindset is neither helpful nor supportive, but it's in fact hurtful and that I'm not wrong in being upset about it. So help, please. And there are some comments, but yeah, what would you say? If you're not saying break up and if you're not saying go to therapy, what would you do in this situation?
Well, you know, and there's another thing that I just talked about, the fact that he was like, nah, therapy was weaponized against me, so I don't trust it.
Yeah.
That honestly could read as like, and look, if you go to therapy with like, they very much can weaponize your therapy against you, so you should never go to therapy with an.
Sure.
But like, for him to just be like, therapy, I don't trust it, really reads as like, nah, I don't like people like really putting my issues out in the spotlight and telling me things I need to change.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to.
Exactly. I don't think that's a weapon against you. I think it's just you're just having to confront your own mistakes.
He would have to relinquish some level of control over the situation to the therapist.
Yeah.
And of course he doesn't want to do that because it really reads, I don't know if you recognize this, OP, it reads like he's controlling the entire relationship at this point. Down from the top down to the point where he's like, you're no contact. I don't care. I'm not no contact with your mom and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah. We do have some comments. So comment number 1 says, so sorry, OP, since y'all do love each other and want to stay together and counseling isn't an option, then you need to have someone other than Silas to support you and that you can discuss your mother. I personally think that Silas is wrong. Sometimes people are so horrible and selfish that cutting ties is the healthiest thing to do. My dad cut off his toxic family. I will forever appreciate that because he protected us. We grew up with healthy relationships because he made that decision. You can't help how you feel. Silas's attitude and words have hurt you. That's a fact even if he chooses not to acknowledge it. My husband won't go to counseling, but will listen to self-help books. Maybe that could be an alternative. Something that y'all could start out doing together, maybe. OP says that may be an option. He spends half the week out of town because of work, not worried about cheating, we're poly, and during the road trip, he listens to audiobooks a lot anyway. I thought on the advice of the comments and also talked to my therapist about it. My therapist, I think, gave me the best advice. Have a deep heart-to-heart with him about it, but wait to do it. Wait until he's not so sensitive about his own mother if you can. I thought that was fabulous advice and that he would be far more open to being empathetic if he wasn't so caught up in his own feels. So I waited. And in fact, I waited so long that I forgot because the issue didn't come up again. Until last week. The egg donor and her flying monkeys were making trouble for an organization that I volunteer for because why not, right? Things that I didn't have to deal with directly, but they knew that I would see. Fun times. And rather than make Silas deal or start a fight, when he would ask how I was or how my day was, I would just tell him something like, oh, the drama queen is at it again. And this would tell him all that he really needed to know. That the woman formerly known as my mother was stressing out my world, and if he wanted more details, he could ask. Sometimes he did, but normally he would just comfort me. And that's all I had really wanted was some comfort, so win-win. Later in the week, Silas calls me while he's away. He's gone half of the week for work again. He was highly distraught because he had just gotten some bad news about his family. It's private and not actually relevant to the story, but the point is, we ended up talking for a long time while he calms down. Eventually, he just suddenly said, without prompting, I'm sorry for not being there for you when you cut off your mom. I was literally stunned into silence. True, family has started this call, but I was not expecting that, and I had been doing my best not to bring any of my stress onto him while he was venting. And we promise to never bring our stress onto you when you listen to more full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is.
Oh, yeah.
Just search OK Storytime. And there is a little bit more to the story, but I am so curious about what happened to give him this change in opinion.
I mean, as a lot of time went by,
yeah,
I don't know. I think people can get clarity from a lot of different places.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like there's some elements of this relationship that are kind of, unhealthy. The fact that, wait. So you guys are together, but you're also poly, but if you guys go off again, because you've been on and off, there's now an ultimatum that y'all will completely cut each other out of each other's lives.
Yeah.
That just sound. If that was a group idea, great. But if that came from Silas more than OP, that sounds like him being like, well, you are not allowed to leave anymore, essentially.
Yeah. Sounds like we're done.
Yeah, and I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
And you don't like that either, OP. You literally said it in the post. You're like, and that's why we can't break up.
Yeah.
Which is not really fair. Because in an open and honest relationship, really that potential is kind of always there underneath everything.
Yeah.
But I don't think you can be in a relationship with somebody with the caveat of like, and you're never allowed to break up. If we break up one more time, I'll never talk to you again.
Yeah,
that's kind of wild.
But we do have more to the story. So he continued, I know that's your relationship and not mine, and that it's for you to handle the way you see fit. I've been doing my best to keep quiet about it and just be supportive to you. By this point, I was tearing up a bit and had to push it back. Thank you, I told him. Really, you don't know how much I appreciate you saying that. I've been trying not to overwhelm you with it either. And then we changed the subject. This is why I didn't want to break up. This is why I wanted advice and alternatives, because this man, well, his skull is as thick as a husky's coat, but he's a good egg. A really good egg. And that is the end of that story. Interesting. I think it's very nice that he said that, but I also think that it's something to keep an eye on and see if his actions actually back it up. Because if he does have manipulative tendencies, which, he might not. It might have just been that one thing that we saw.
It might have just read that way. And again, we're just reading the story. I don't know either of these people in real life.
Exactly.
I am basing everything off of the way that post was written.
Yeah.
And OP, you probably don't want to hear me say it, but it sounded a little manipulative.
It did sound a little manipulative. So if he has those tendencies, then it's very possible that this could be another chance. So it must feel really good that that's happened, and let it feel good, but also keep an eye out and observe rather than just trusting.
My boyfriend wants to help his ex with her visa by renewing their engagement.
That sounds complicated.
So, a bit of context here. I, 29 female, have been with my boyfriend, 31 male, for almost 2 years now. We weren't looking for something serious when we met, but we instantly clicked, and it became serious really fast, as we were so well with each other. By the way, this comes from Lols Do Brawls, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, around 3 months into this perfect relationship, my boyfriend, let's call him John, sat me down as he needed to tell me something important about his ex, let's call her Jane, 34 female. As I have absolutely no issues with being in contact and friendly with exes, I directly assumed it was something really heavy, like maybe they had a kid or she was pregnant or something like that. He reassured me and started to tell me their story. They met in a foreign country. Jane was studying there, perfecting her English and discovering a new country. John was there for vacation. They fell for each other and had a bit of a long-distance relationship for a few months before she suggested coming to live in our country. John was happy about that because long distance was not really his thing, and they were kind of in love. Before she moved in, though, he asked her if she was sure she wanted to move to another country with another language again, and wanted to know if she had a plan for a life in our country because he didn't want her to come only for him. She assured him that she wanted to come here not just for him, and that she wanted to learn our language and continue her studies and have a career here. So, she came to live in John's parents' house. They were locked down there a bit due to the vid, and then they got their own apartment. The thing is that she came here on a vacation visa that expired a few months after being there. They rapidly got kind of married. Not a real marriage, but something you do in my country to prove to the administration that you're an official couple, so she could apply for a long-term visa. When they took the apartment, even though he was the one paying for everything, as she couldn't work without a visa, he put her name everywhere to make sure she'd be able to prove they were actually in love and living together in order to ask for the visa. So everything was going kind of great between them. She was contributing a bit by doing some babysitting here and there. They got a dog, spoke about having a family, everything. It was really important to her, and as she is a bit older, she wanted it done sooner than later. But quickly, things got rough between them, and they started to become really toxic to each other, to some extent that I won't share the details of here, but it was really not good. John had a hard time deciding to leave her because even though he wasn't in love anymore, he was feeling really guilty to leave her alone in this foreign country without money, visa, or the family she had dreamt of. So after a big fight they had, he eventually left the house, but promised her to still help her financially until she could have the visa and be able to work. The situation is like really spiraling.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's being handled correctly.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully. It seems like they're keeping a distance of their relationship kind of and like keeping it strictly like legal, you know, or like for the green card or something. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell for me, honestly.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
At that point, he was afraid I would not react well to the fact that he was still paying her rent and bills, etc., and was still officially tied to her, and was still going to the administration appointments for the visa. He told me it was only for a few months more, as she was supposed to get the visa and the job in September. It was around April or May when he had told me, and they were separated for almost 2 years at that point. Of course, I was so relieved. To me, it was a great thing. I was so happy it wasn't something that important, and I figured that if he could handle it financially, it was really great that he was still helping her, and to me, it was telling how much of a good person he was. But as you can guess, from that point, things slowly became weirder and weirder. First of all, I noticed she was calling him more than necessary, sometimes in the middle of the night, calling 5 times in a row, sending a bunch of text messages saying how much of a mistake it was to leave her, that no one could love him more than her, etc. And at that point, he blocked her, but he left his emails open if she needed it for the administration thing or the dog because they're sharing custody of the dog. Of course, she started spamming his email too. I overheard some of their conversations on the phone, and every time he was not acting friendly with her, he used a dry tone and was clear with her that she had to stop these behaviors. We're often speaking about it, and I told him I didn't feel good with this situation because I thought it was just a friendly relationship, but it is clearly not. She's clearly not over him and clearly completely dependent. Every time I raise the concerns, he tells me that he wishes it was over, but he wanted to go through what he promised and that it would be over as soon as she got the visa. So I accepted it. As you can guess, she didn't get a visa in September. It was pushed back again and again. She was still so manipulative, saying how much he owes her and how he should be paying for her school, how he's not a human for having abandoned her, etc. Last January, she finally got her visa. I was happy for her and also for us, as I thought it was the end of it. John went to celebrate it a bit with her and her mom, who was visiting, and they all agreed that now she should be able to get her life together and find a job and be able to provide for herself. Hooray! As you still correctly guess, she did not do this. John was still paying for everything. At some point, he had to take a little loan from the bank as he couldn't afford to pay for both his life in his new apartment and hers.
Why are we paying for hers? What's that about?
I feel like he just feels so responsible for her that if something bad were to happen, like, you know, she just becomes homeless or like,
yeah,
but it's like, he'd be like, well, that'd be on me. But really,
it's not
on you.
No, not
especially
at all.
Not now. She has a visa. She can get a job. You need to stop providing for her.
Absolutely. Especially now that you have another girlfriend.
Right. It's supposed to end at the visa.
Yeah.
When he told me that, I was so sad because I thought he could afford paying for someone else that long. It's been almost 3 years now. But he can't totally, and that's impacting him more than I thought. In March, 3 months after she got the visa, she got sick and had to get an operation. Of course, she called John to tell him and ask him every single thing she could. She even asked him to stay with her a few nights after the operation, as the doctors recommended. He asked her if she couldn't, I don't know, ask this to her friends, and she had the nerve to reply that their friends have their own partners and their own lives to take care of, as if John didn't have one. She also tried to manipulate him, saying she was sick because of the pressure he put on her to get a job. Anyway, Jane's mom went visiting again, and John's mom helped them settle after the operation. Since she had to recover from the operation, of course, getting a job now wasn't even on the table. So I waited again. At some point, end of April, John went there with his father to have a meetup with Jane and her mom. It was important that John's father was involved, as he is the one helping him pay everything for her. John came back home saying it went really great, and they agreed to pay for themselves starting in July. I was pissed, though, because it took so long. It was still a long time, and also Jane went on crying in front of both parents, saying how much John is not nice with her and how much she has so much pressure that she hasn't even started to search for a real job. She basically spent 6 months looking exclusively for her dream job. Anyway, as John said, Jane and her mother gave their word in front of him and his father, and that it was nearly over. So again, I had waited. In May, Jane called John saying that she got a new job. I was so relieved, like it was finally over. But, as you can still guess, she had something else to ask. She wanted him to renew his engagement to her so she can ask for a 2-year visa, as the first one is expiring in January. It is so irritating because now that she is legal and has a job, she can just ask her company and apply for a working visa. But she's saying that she's not so sure about the company. It's just the beginning, and it would be easier to just renew the visa with John. Of course, I agree. It is easier, but she proved that she doesn't deserve it. She can't be trusted. She recently sent an email because she had HR questions to ask John. He said that he doesn't care and she needs to ask the internet or her HR team. Right. Stop talking to John, Jane.
Yeah.
He is not your boyfriend.
Exactly.
Man, there's some people that really need to understand that.
Yeah. Sometimes it would be easier to, I don't know, marry a rich old man. But if you're dating someone, like, you shouldn't do that to get money. You know what I mean?
Put that in the Bible, the Angie Bible.
I think it's already in the Bible.
You can get married to a rich old man, but if you're dating somebody,
it changes things.
Kind of not a very cool guy move.
Yeah.
At that point. She answered that legally he doesn't have the right to not care about her situation, which is true because they are legally tied And they've been lying to the administration for a few years now, so he could be in trouble for that. I'm so pissed that she had the nerve to threaten him after everything he's done for her. She also said that she won't be paying as planned in July because she wants to know first that her and their dog will be safe, meaning she won't pay anything until they renew the visa. To be honest, I could go on for hours about what she has done. She still gives well wishes on their anniversary, perfuming the dog so he smells like her, posting AI pictures of them together on Instagram, not telling her family they broke up, etc. She is so childish and manipulative at the same time. I told John that I don't want him to renew the visa because she doesn't deserve it. He has already done what he promised to do. She has possibilities to do it with her job. He will still be legally tied to her, and she won't stop asking for everything. I feel like it's so disrespectful to me because of how she is acting like I and our relationship don't matter. He, on the other hand, wants to renew the thing because he wants it to end peacefully, and he knows she'll become crazy if she doesn't get what he wants. He believes it is simpler to just do it rather than argue with her and make her feel like there's still a thing. He wants to believe her when she says it's the last thing she asks. Her life is at stake, and it's more important than my feelings. I have told him that he is giving her much more power than she actually has. He can just block her on everything and stop paying. She won't have any other choice than to figure things out on her own. The only thing is that he won't be able to see the dog anymore. She has already threatened to not let him see the dog if he doesn't do what she wants. But by the way, I want you to listen to full episodes with stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you listen to podcasts. Pull all of them up at the same time and listen to OK Storytime. We have a little more story left. But I mean, Angie, what are do you have any like summarizing thoughts here?
You gotta let go of the dog. Sorry, man. If she's literally blackmailing you.
Yeah, that is that's ridiculous to me. Being like dog custody is the thing that's gonna keep you together with this Like, I'd get it if it was just like, oh, we just kind of like it's weird vibes. Like, yeah, sure, like, but it's still like a dog. It's like your dog. Like,
it's like, oh, okay, fine.
But
if this was a normal breakup and you had she had a dog that you got really attached to, that's just part of the loss that you got to deal with. So
yeah, man.
Especially when she's freaking blackmailing you, you got to let go. Got to let go of the one thing tying you to that relationship.
Yeah. That actually happened to me. I think, but it wasn't a dog, it was a cat.
Oh, really?
Wait, I didn't. Yeah, it was just like, we can't both have the cat. So I guess you'll have
Did you get the cat together?
Huh?
Did you get the cat together or was it like one person? Dang, man. That's a commitment.
Yeah, that cat was total.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what you want from a cat, though.
Yeah. I mean, kind of. It was more like he was like the equivalent of like if a human was raised in the woods by wolves. It's like he had zero social skills and like did not know how to properly act like a cat because when he was like a baby, like in the litter, he got pneumonia. So he got separated from like during the timeline where the cats learn all of their social skills and behaviors. He was isolated.
Whoa.
So he's like actually just like he was like a feral like wolf child, had no idea how to act right.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, he was great. So here's where I need advice from the nice strangers on the internet. I really want him to stand up for himself and for us and not renew the thing. By now, I think I've reached the point where I'm not able to get on with this situation anymore. But on the other hand, I know that her life is at stake, and I feel like an a-hole trying to push for her not being able to renew with him. I feel like I'm becoming crazy over this. I need some outside perspectives on how I should approach things. Could you please give me some advice? Have some of you been in a similar situation? And that is the end of that story. And here's what I'll say to that. You literally just say everything that you said in this post. Have a conversation with him about this. Approach it with entirely open. Mm-hmm. And what that means is that you might have to be open to the relationship being over. If you're like, hey, I can't deal with you being engaged legally to this crazy ex that you have, who does not treat you right and does not deserve your assistance. She's a grown woman who can help herself. And if he's like, I can't do that, you have to go, all right, well, I can't do it. So I'm going to leave.